And these resolutions have to be brought. You can't, I don't see how you can expect us just to go along. So like just now, we were pushing through this to have a confirmation or acceptance of the President's report, and there are areas in it which are grey.
Thank you for your question and comment. In relation to the last part of it, that was an error on my part, and I apologize once again in terms of the order of which that was done. I think probably just to add a little bit more clarity onto what Mr. Quealy would have responded to your initial question is that the reason why a move towards online banking and a more technological friendly approach to how we do banking, if we can call it that, is that we would have been responding to a lot of complaints by our membership. And so therefore, that was just a response, a natural response to complaints that we were addressing. Those decisions would have been made by a board of directors following what would have been stated at the last AGM, the presentation that would have been made. And so therefore, the directors then made the decisions to move forward and execute.
You talk first. I still haven't heard the question that Mr. Jemmott has answered, because the responses that I've been hearing have nothing to do with resolutions. But despite that, I'll take it as the modus operandi for this meeting is that silence means something. So to me, the silence means that there was no resolution, right? So we need to look at that and correct that. But I am getting the impression from the report that, well, first of all, the report said you have problems with capital. Then I see a muddying of the lines. I'm not talking about the modernization, but the muddying of the lines of the roles of a credit union and that of a bank. And if you have capital, if we're moving from a credit union to a bank, that has a lot of different meaning to us as members. And also, it would have different responsibilities at the ECCU level. And with the lack of capital, a Bank of Montserrat, which is a full bank, has problem meeting those things. I cannot see how we can jump headlong and boast that we are going to be the top financial institution in the country when we have financial problems right now. And you're not tackling that, you're making discussions based on decisions based on something that one or two people have asked for, and not going through the credit union modus operandi of resolutions. And I'm very concerned. First of all, I couldn't attend the last meeting, but I can't afford to have $1,000 resting in your hands just so. We're not rich people. No, I'm serious, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I have $1,000 there that I can't touch. Secondly, I've noticed over the years that things have changed, and people, you just see changes. For instance, the Farmers Association, which is a cooperative, we decided when we were starting to bank with credit union as a spirit of credit unionism. One day I went in and I just told, no, you cannot write things as shares here. You have to write it as deposits. No explanation has ever been given. And so that means our status has changed. And I don't know when this thing has happened and what does it mean for us. Should we move all our money out from you? I'm wondering. Just tell me, give me a proper answer, and I'll decide where the Farmers Association and even my personal money goes from now on, because we need to be clear what we are dealing with.
Okay.
You don't have to answer, you don't have to answer.
Let me offer this response. The credit union has been suffering from a lot of what I will call unfair actions and activities by the Bank of Montreal, which have pressured us into a certain corner. We have had to lodge some of the things I wouldn't wish to speak publicly on them.
No, but we need to know. We are the directors. We're the members.
Let me continue, please. We have had to move certain complaints to the central bank as it relates to some of those type of actions and behavior. The other thing is that, as you would know, the cost of operating in Montreal now, banking-wise, has increased significantly. We are paying roughly about $90,000 every year in fees directly to the Bank of Montreal for operational fees in terms of interest rates, fees to buy cash, fees to operate wire transfers, EFTs, and so forth. And as such, that has pushed us into a corner whereby if we don't evolve in a certain way, that we would be completely, just eroded away. We have lobbied the central bank on those matters, and they have agreed, along with the other credit unions in the region, and our government here has passed the legislation to allow credit unions to be a part of the ECCU clearing system. I repeat, our government has passed that legislation to allow credit unions to be a part of the ECCU clearing systems. What that will do is that will break the monopoly that Bank of Montreal has in the country, and will allow now for costs to go down and for our members to enjoy lower cost of services and better services and so forth. As you know, where there is competition, cost will be reduced. Now, in relation to the other matter that you have raised, you would note that we are operating under certain guidelines issued by the Financial Services Commission and also the FIU in terms of money laundering guidelines and requirement to do your customer, requirement to have these things in place and so forth. They don't treat us no differently than they treat the banks. And as such, what you would see is that a number of changes that we have made is to accommodate what the law is requiring us to do. And if we don't put these things in place, we will be sanctioned and be charged fines and so forth. So what is happening here is that, we are just adjusting to what the laws are, what the penalties are, and we have to conform. It's as simple as that. Either we conform or we close down.
Good afternoon. Madam President, thank you very much for a very positive report. On page 17, and Mr. Jemmott raised it, you identified a number of areas for renovation and the ATM. Do you know what's the cost of that package of renovation? 2 members? That's question number 1. In terms of deposit insurance, I know that there was a time when CCC used to cover the deposits in credit union. Where are we on that? Do we still have that insurance for depositors, just in case? And I asked that in light of on page 13 of the report, Madam Chair, you said that the ratio, your capitalized ratio, according to the law, it will be 10%. And based on what you said, it's 1.5%. How would that, in the unlikely eventuality that something happens, how would you be able to refund people, the members' investment with the operation? That's 3. The 4th question is, in terms of your NLPs, your non-performing loans, what's the ratio of non-performing loans to your actual loan portfolio? And I'll stop there for now.
Firstly, before we respond to your questions, we would like to acknowledge your presence.
Well, I'm a member, please. Thank you very much.
Okay. We'd still like to acknowledge your presence, Mr. Premier. Thank you for coming. The first question is in relation to...
Let me start from the back and forward.
Okay, fine.
The ratio of our non-performing loans is, as the report says, it's about, well, you would see it in the credit committee report, is about 7.1%. 7.1% is the ratio. The international standard is minimum is 5%. The ECCU average, as placed in the communique from the central bank in October of 2022, was about 11.5%. So we are below the ECCU average, about 5% below the ECCU average.
That average in the region, that's what the ECCB is required.
The average in the region, yes, commercial banks and credit unions, was 11.5%. We are at 7.1%. So we are lower than the average in the region. So that means that we're performing better than our peers. In terms of deposit insurance, that's a very interesting question, because recently I received from the Ministry of Finance a copy of a draft Deposit Insurance Act being pushed out by the central bank to the credit unions and the banks in the region. We have had several meetings as the credit union movement in the region discussing this whole deposit insurance scheme that the central bank is looking to put in place. One of the things that we have found is that the cost to the credit unions is a bit more than the commercial banks, simply because that we don't fall directly under the ambit of the central bank. We fall under our local Financial Services Commission. There has been no resolution to that as yet. We are still in discussions with the CCCU and the central bank on it, but there is in fact a draft deposit insurance bill for the entire ECCU region put out by the central bank for discussions that involves both the banks and the credit unions, but what they call deposit-taking companies.
If I on that point, I remember, because I'm in credit union quite a while now, wasn't Triple C, is it, covering deposit at one point?
No, there was never any deposit insurance in our system, never, ever.
So what do you use to cover? What do you use to cover?
What we have was an insurance policy offered by Kuna, which was saying that if you lose your deposit or if you die on your credit and you have a mortgage, that insurance would pay it out.
So
we never had deposit insurance.
Okay, but where are we on that one then? Is it still in place or not?
That insurance policy had to be cancelled because, as you could recall, the cost of that insurance was met directly by the credit union, which is one of the reasons why the credit union ended up being capitally inadequate in the first place, because the cost created so much losses that it eroded away the capital base of the credit union, and the credit union had to take a decision to stop that and shift the cost towards the members. The problem is that the policy was a group policy, so Kuna had to change it to an individual policy. And now that they have done that now, then we could relaunch the product so that individual members who desire can pay individually for their own insurance policy, covering deposits and their mortgages and their loans. Let me repeat, we never had deposit insurance. What we had was a Kuna insurance covering certain things which the credit union used to pay for its own books, which, I don't want to use words, but almost killed the credit union.
Madam President, I want to make a proposal at this point, because I believe that the Education Committee appears to have a lot of work to do, and I would think that it might be profitable for you to proceed with this, your AGM, maybe differ some of the decisions you might have been thinking about if they were decisions which did not have the sanction of the members, and also that you can call and they can call just a general meeting sometime else, not an AGM, a general meeting, and we can really enlighten the membership in relation to things which are brewing, things which are coming, and the challenges which we have to make. Because we are poor people, we're not rich, all right? And we are here to help each other. And because of this, I think that the spirit of the credit union needs to live on. So my proposal would be, if you can, in fact, we could, if they're being seen, they seem to be contentious items, if you can think about it and we see if we can then progress this meeting. Thank you.
Madam President, the Premier would have asked two questions which I would like to answer.
There's another question that has to be asked about the...
Yes. Yes. We had quantity survey estimations done by professionals in relation to the estimated cost for the renovations, and it came out to somewhere around, the exact figure, just over $700,000. That was one. In relation to the capital of the credit union, no. The credit union was never adequately capitalized. And what happened is that over the years, you had a series of losses. You had a major loss.
I think what do you mean by never capitalized?
Okay, exactly. Thank you very much.
Because
yes, yes.
So that has to be
yes, you're correct. No, when I say capitalize, it means then that the members placing monies into the credit union to be used for development and expansion. What we had was the $5 shares per member, which went way back. No, what you had was you had the volcanic eruptions, which wiped out a sizable portion of the credit union loan portfolio, which we had to take a loss for. You also had the Clico-Bico issue, where the credit union lost nearly, well, in excess of $4 million. You had other storms and so forth over the years where we lost monies also, to the extent that in 2008, in the 2008 financials done by Price Waterhouse, the credit union capital was negative, I repeat, negative $4 million. Completely wiped out, completely eroded, completely insolvent. That was the position of the credit union as per Price Waterhouse audit in 2008. Since then, the board, via strict management and procedures, etc., has brought the capital back from negative $4 million to positive $1.5 million. So the board has raised over $5.5 billion in 5 years. So we have brought the credit union back from the red into the black. So we are no longer insolvent. So if we were supposed to be liquidated tomorrow, we can comfortably pay off all the depositors and still have monies to spare. No, the issue is capitalization adequate? Where we are right now, the answer is no. Bank Commercial went through that whole process. It took them 20 years from 1991, 20 years of not paying dividends, 20 years of management by the ECCB before they were able to come out of that, what we call management type arrangement, and pay dividends to their members because they were undercapitalized. This credit union, recommended by the FSC, has decided that we're going to put in place a 5-year plan, recommended by the FSC to raise permanent shares so that we could assist in the capitalization of the credit union. That was a recommendation which came in from the FSC, supported by the Central Bank, and we want to follow the guidance that they offered to us. It's going to cost the members, but when Bank Commercial floated shares to, members bought. Remember that they raised a ton of shares a couple years back when they had issues. We have to go through that same process of raising shares, and the only person who can put the monies in are the members. It's a process that we have to go through. But if we're going to offer the services that you're asking for, the online banking, the ATMs, the various checking accounts that you're asking for, etc., somebody has to pay the bill. Somebody has to put the monies in. If the monies are not put in, we will simply remain how we are or go backwards.
Just to follow. I don't mind paying, I don't want to buy the shares, and I've been passionate about this what do you call it? Permanent shares for quite a while, since way back. I don't mind paying permanent shares in the company because you have to capitalize the board. The question I have for you and for the board is what return on my investment am I getting? I would invest in it, yes, but you're not telling me up to now what is the return on my investment when it's 5 years down the road. You could tell to me, if you buy 1,000 shares, we capitalize over 10 years, and after 10 years we start getting something, then we start to pay dividends on it. We're not hearing that from
Okay, let me respond to that.
Madam Chair, please.
Could I respond, Mr. Member, please, and then you come in afterwards?
No,
The
I'm
member
not going to
asked a
come in.
question and
I
respond.
Can we have some
want to
order,
talk to the
please?
chairman. You want order, I want to talk to the chair. I'm talking to the president. Madam President.
Mr. Premier, in relation to your, member, in relation to your response, into your question, if you could recall, member, the process of raising capital takes time. And in between that time, you cannot pay dividends. If you recall, I did mention that it took 20 years up at BOM before they could raise the capital and pay dividends. So, during this time when we are raising the capital, the law restricts us from paying any form of funds or anything to our members. Once we raise the adequate amount of funds and we adequately reach the minimum level set by the law, then we will proceed to pay dividends to our members. In the meantime, we need to raise approximately 8.5 million, 8.5. The president said 5 years in a report is a time frame to raise those funds. 5 years. We need to raise 8.5 million in 5 years' time. And then afterwards, we'll begin the process of paying dividends. In the meantime, this credit union has kept its rates to its members the highest in the local market. Our deposit rates, our fixed deposit rates, as you can see, are higher than the others are paying. Our services, our costs are lower than the others are charging. So, in the meantime that we are not paying any form of dividends to our members, we are offering them other forms of benefit which they are capitalizing from. Lower cost of service, higher deposit rates. We pay 2.25% on fixed deposits. One institution pays 0.5%. We pay 2.5% on fixed deposits over a certain amount, over $500,000. One institution pays 0% to business savings. 0%.
Madam Chair, the spirit of credit unionism is that we save our funds for one another to prosper, and that in the long run, we will all prosper. There are systems in place. There's no reason sometimes, I believe, thrift has been the hallmark of credit unionism. This, what we're talking about now, is just a matter of education, which what I'm saying is that, first of all, we ought not to be moving in directions unless things have been agreed by the members. 1. 2, that if there is a problem facing you, I had another question to ask. How have we involved the CCCCO, the Caribbean Confederation, in the challenges which we are facing? and what have they said, what are they doing, how they can do it. And if you bring us together, all of us together, and we understand that the business is ours, the credit union is ours. I've started this since I was a little boy at school. Plenty of the people here did the same thing, right? And we have lived with it. So it's not, we understand a bank is different, you know. I understand a bank is different. I know credit union, what credit union has done for me, and I know what it has done for others. So I'm saying, Madam President, please use your influence here. If we could put off some of these matters until we have a general meeting and make sure that it's properly announced, we get the minutes and whatever documents we have to read long time before for the things which we have to discuss. Not that they're just handed out and we expect to agree this, agree that, agree the other, please. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you for your questions and comments. We have one question from one of our online attendees, which I'll read out loud so we can all hear it, and one of us will respond. The question is 7.1 the loan interest rates? Sorry, just confirming, as I did not hear it clearly.
No, 7.1% is the loan delinquency rate. Let me repeat. Our loan delinquency rate as of 2021 is 7.1%. The regional average, as announced by the central bank in its October communique, is 11.5%, which means that this credit union is 5% below the regional average. That is the facts.
Okay, in light of the time, we appreciate that you may have a few other questions, but we would, at this point, request a motion to be moved and seconded to adopt the report of the Board of Directors. Do we have anyone that would like to move the motion? Yes, thank you. And do we have a seconder? Thank you very much.
Am I understanding that you understood that our silence meant
Mr. Chairman, stop that now.
We will have opportunities after several other reports for questions and comments as well. But we would like to move the, as you suggested, move the AGM along in light of time.
Yeah, but we would like just the assurance that if there are pending things in this document which suggest that things are going to happen, that you're putting in place before you start these things, and the new directors going in place will understand that we expect them to deal with these things.
I would say yes. Minutes are being taken, and we do intend to address your concerns and not just gloss over them. So you do have our assurance, if that helps. Okay, so if there are no other questions or comments on this particular section, we're now going to welcome the chair of the Credit Committee, Michelle Castle, to give the report of the Credit Committee. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Can we have a motion from the AGM itself? Vote, sorry, a vote from...
They don't have time to respond.
Sorry, there's somebody in the back that's saying something.
Thank you.
We had that already, so it's just a
Vote.
We had the motion to accept the report was moved by Ms. Lauren Piper, and it was seconded by Juliana Brandt. So we're now just throwing it out to the general membership to adopt as moved. And I've heard some ayes, so the ayes have it. So let the minutes reflect. The minutes will also reflect that the Education Committee will have some work to do in the coming months before the next AGM, and we will do what is necessary to ensure that the members are not aggrieved.
I will now have Ms. Castle to give her report.
Good evening, everyone. I will present to you the report for the Credit Committee for the financial year 2021. Notwithstanding continued economic and financial challenges experienced globally, regionally, and locally due to fallouts from the COVID-19 pandemic, the SPCCU Credit Committee remained committed to their role of ensuring strong and effective credit risk and management while serving financial needs of our members. The serving members of the Credit Committee for the year 2021 comprise the following: yours truly, Chairperson, Lauren Piper, Secretary and Member, Siobhan Chewitt, Member, Gilmore Williams, Member, Ruel McLeod White, Member. The Credit Committee is charged with the responsibility of ensuring that all loan contracts entered into by the SPCCU comply with the credit union's loan policy. This involves assessing the borrower's repayment capacity, perusing supporting documentation, ensuring that the security or collateral are adequate, and finally approving or the denying of loan requests. The role of the Credit Committee, as defined in the Montserrat Cooperative Societies Act, involves the following: 1. Implementation of the approved loan policy. 2. Prudent oversight over the loan portfolio. 3. Making recommendations to the Board of Directors in respect of the credit union's loan policy. Loan Summary Report. As at December 31, 2021, a total of 909 loans were extended by the credit union with an outstanding value of $51.6 million. In comparison, as at December 31, 2020, and December 31, 2019, the total number of loans extended and outstanding values respectively stood at 963 loans equaling $52.1 million and 1,027 loans equaling $52.5 million. The above three-year trend analysis highlights the fact that over the past 2 financial years, COVID-19 has negatively impacted the SPCCU loan portfolio, both in terms of numbers of loans extended and the value of the loans outstanding. The real estate category, which represents a combination of loans taken for building expenses, home purchase, home renovation, and land purchase, continues to dominate the loan portfolio, accounting for 75.8% of the total portfolio as at December 31, 2021. Conversely, in the financial years 2020 and 2019, real estate-related loans respectively represented 72.7% and 67.3% of the total portfolio. On the consumer side of the loan portfolio, vehicle loans represented the largest category. Vehicle loans accounted for $4.2 million or 8.2% of the total loan portfolio as at December 31, 2021. Conversely, in financial years 2020 and 2019, vehicle loans respectively represented approximately $4.4 million or 8.5% and $5.4 million or 10.4% of the loan portfolio. Other significant consumer loan categories are debt consolidation loans, working capital business loans, educational loans, and travel loans. These loan categories respectively accounted for 5.8%, 3.3%, 2.1%, and 1.3% of the loan portfolio. And we see the statistics over the years 2019, 2020, and 2021 in our table in the booklet that we can be following. The data presented suggests that the economic and financial fallouts from the COVID-19 crisis has further skewed the loan portfolio towards the longer duration real estate loans. This resulted from the collapsing of the consumer loan market as travel and vacation loans grounded to a halt due to travel restrictions and members adopting a wait-and-see posture, as opposed to engaging in spending, preferring to safeguard savings for emergencies. The skewing of the loan portfolio towards longer duration loans does not bode well from an asset or a liability management and loan portfolio profitability standpoint. Therefore, the Credit Committee recommends that upon the return to normal economic and financial conditions, the SPCCU should continue its loan portfolio diversification posture and adopt an appropriate credit risk management strategy that has the potential to generate returns whilst maintaining liquidity from a cash flow perspective. Loan payment deferrals. In financial year 2021, the SPCCU, due to the shutdown in March 2021, reintroduced the initiative of extending moratoriums or loan payment deferrals to qualifying members to ease the burden of those who were directly impacted in a negative way post the COVID-19 pandemic. The loans deferred collectively accounted for 14 members with a total outstanding balance of $1.6 million and monthly loan installment payments of $16,486. This represented 3% of total loans. In contrast, in financial year 2020, the height of the COVID-19 crisis, 58 members benefited from a 3-month deferral on loan payments during the period April to June 2020. Loans deferred in this period collectively had an outstanding balance of $5.7 million, with monthly loan installments of $78,616, representing 11.5% of total loans with a total loan portfolio. The SPCCU COVID-19 loan payment deferral program was part of a regional initiative promoted by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB. And we have the table here again that displays the figures over the years 2019, 2020, and 2021. Loan delinquency. Overall, the SPCCU recorded a reduction in the quantum of delinquent loans, notwithstanding the economic and financial fallouts from the COVID-19 crisis. The quantum of delinquent loans declined from $5.94 million as at December 31st, 2019 to $5.71 million as at December 31, 2020, and then further to $4.23 million as at December 31, 2021. As a result, the loan delinquency ratio declined from 11.3% as at December 31, 2019 to 10.9% as at December 31st, 2020, and then to 7.1% as at December 31, 2021. It is noteworthy that the communique from the meeting of the ECCB Monetary Council held on October 22nd, 2021, highlighted that the average regional loan delinquency level in the ECCU had risen to 11.5%. The committee notes that the SPCCU has still not met the 5% or below minimum international standard of loan delinquency. Notwithstanding, the committee applauds the efforts of the SPCCU in terms of reducing loan delinquency and continues to appeal to members to communicate with management early whenever a situation arises that may affect the members' ability to repay. I want to put a plug right here to commend the debt recovery's function within the SPCCU for this, and this is a very commendable effort that they have put in to reduce this service. We are always ready to help and to provide the support, but we must work together for the common good of the credit union. Loan loss provisioning. In terms of loan loss provisioning, in financial year 2018, the SPCCU adopted International Financial Reporting Standard 9, otherwise known as IFRS 9, and this introduced an expected credit loss ECL framework for the recognition of loan impairment and hence the determination of loan loss provisioning. Under IFRS 9's ECL impairment framework, the SPCCU recognizes the ECLs at all times, taking into account past events, current conditions, and forecasted information. For the SPCCU, the ECLs and the consequent loan loss provisioning are calculated annually as at the end of each financial year following a comprehensive review of the loan portfolio. The following are the three major categories in which loans are classified and provisions established accordingly. Stage 1, or the bucket 1. These are loans that are current and exhibit zero to low credit risk implications for the SPCCU. For this category of loans, the SPCCU recognizes loan loss and establishes provisions that have the probability of occurring within the next 12 months to a year. Stage 2, or the bucket 2, are loans that represent a medium credit risk to the SPCCU. For this category of loans, the SPCCU establishes lifetime or full expected credit losses and the consequent loan loss provisions, which is equal to the outstanding value of the loan. This expected credit loss, and hence loan loss provision value, is adjusted downwards, taking into consideration the market value of any realizable security or the collateral to back the loan, discounted for legal fees, auctioneer fees, time value for money, and negotiation fees. Stage 3, or the bucket 3, which is the final stage, are loans that represent a high credit risk to the SPCCU. For this category of loans, the SPCCU establishes lifetime or full expected credit losses and the consequent loan loss provisions, which is equal to the outstanding value of the loan. This expected credit loss and hence loan loss provision value is adjusted again downwards, taking into consideration the market value of any realizable security or collateral to back the loan, discounting legal fees, auctioneer fees, and time value for money and the negotiation fees. And again, the table is here and it shows the contrast for 2020-2021. Expected credit loss on loans to members are highlighted in the table that I would have just made reference to above, along with loan loss provisioning estimations. The data shows that the SPCCU experienced an increase of 4% in expected credit losses and hence required provisioning for loan losses when analyzing the position for financial year 2021 compared to that of financial year 2020. In conclusion, I want to share that the Credit Committee is mindful of the fact that there are still lingering effects from COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with the high inflationary conditions that continues to negatively impact the national economy. local businesses and individuals through the interruption of employment and reduced real-time income. Notwithstanding, the committee encourages the borrowing members, especially those largely unaffected, to keep your obligation to repay your loans in keeping with the agreed payment plans. By honoring your loan commitments, you help your credit union to be profitable, to grow its institutional capital, and to be in a stronger and a better position to meet the borrowing needs of other members of the society. The committee takes this opportunity to thank the members for their continued commitment to the organization. Also, the committee expresses its gratitude to the management and staff, the Board of Directors, Supervisory and Compliance Committee, and the Financial Services Commission for their kind collaboration. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Castle. At this time, we would like to entertain any questions or comments on the report from the Credit Committee as read by the Chair, Ms. Michelle Castle. And in the interest of time, can we at least limit the number of questions to one per person and not multiple questions?
Okay, there's a phone mic. I'd like to thank Ms. Castle and her group for the work and for answering the question that Comrade Farrell asked. Rather than going around giving us all kind of thing about average here and there, don't muddle us with statistics. She gave us the figure in her report, and I'm glad. And I also would like to defy the chair, because this is a members' meeting. And it's not parliament or whatever you could say thing. If members need to speak, and if they have a lot of questions, they should be allowed to, because this is the only time you get to hear from the members. And that is what I have to say. I also like to tell you, sorry I have to leave the meeting now. Whatever happened before, and to make all you have this thing in busy week, please don't let it happen in busy week again. Right? So that people could participate fully.
Thank you for all your comments, and we're so sorry that you have to leave us so soon. Hopefully next time we will plan at a more appropriate time for our members. So we do apologize about that. That was not intentional. Yes. Sorry, can we have the mic down on this side?
Good night. Sorry. Good night.
Good evening.
I think it's an important question for the members. If the credit union is currently undercapitalized and your income and your expenses are basically balanced, because you can almost rule out the 202,000 that you have in the balance sheet, where do you get the money from for the loans loss provisions? Where does it come from? Especially if you're seeing increases on the IFRS 9. Yeah.
Okay. Recall that IFRS 9 is an expected model, which means the loss has not been realized, but because of what we see in the market, we strategically provide and put aside monies in the event of any dangers or any losses. So the provisions are actually expensed in the income statement. So our surpluses and profits could have been higher, but strategically we decided to provide and expense those funds and put them aside to cover in for any eventuality.
So in the 2 million that I've seen for the expenses, the provisions are also...
They were expensive already, yeah.
All right.
Right. And it's a model that these standards have recommended. So when you have things like COVID and so that comes up, where you have losses, you are able to absorb those losses without any effect on your capital. Right. So as it stands right now, what you're seeing there is that the credit union can absorb losses in its loan portfolio, and as I said before, which would not affect our capital base, because we have strategically and confidently put aside monies in provisions for those rainy days.
But we have to hope that you don't start having any more NPLs, any more non-performing loans.
As we have kept our ratio lower than the regional average, so...
Yeah, I know. There's only 2 banks in the region, I think, that are under the 5% ratio.
Okay, thank you for your question and comments. Do we have any additional questions or comments? Okay, if not, then we would like to request a motion to be moved and seconded to adopt the report as read by Ms. Michelle Castle, the chair of the credit committee. So can we have a motion, please?
Mr. Jemmett?
Okay, so yes, Mr. Jemmett, thank you. And can we have a seconder? Mrs. Watts.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. And now can we have a motion, a vote by show of hands. Okay, good. Thank you very much. So I think the ayes in this instance would have it. Now we will have the report from the Supervisory and Compliance Committee by the chair, Ms. Denicia West.
Good evening, membership. Pursuant to Section 66(1)(f), the Montserrat Cooperative Societies Act No. 4 of 2011, the Supervisory and Compliance Committee is pleased to report on its activities for the review period. The members who served on the committee during the financial year 2021 are as follows: Ms. Denicia West, yours truly, chairperson; Mrs. Jacqueline Martin Chewitt, secretary; Mr. Brent Schufler, member; Ms. Sasha Farrell, member, who would have completed her two-year term in 2021. Members who were elected to the Supervisory and Compliance Committee at the 49th St. Patrick's Cooperative Credit Union AGM in June 2022 are as follows: Mr. Clement Jerome Mead, member; Mrs. Manelva Taylor Benjamin, member. The committee monitors the SPCCU's compliance with laws and regulations, such as the Montserrat Cooperative Societies Act, the Montserrat Cooperative Societies Regulations, the Montserrat SPCCU Code, the Montserrat AML CFT Regulations, the Montserrat Proceeds of Crime Act, and the bylaws of the credit union. The Supervisory and Compliance Committee confirms the safety of the members' funds and the integrity of this credit union's operations by ensuring the internal controls are adequate to safeguard the institution's assets. The committee's role includes review policy and procedural changes, reviewing the minutes of the Board of Directors and the Credit Committee, review the organization's monthly financial reports, follow up on reports of the compliance officer, conducting cash counts and other operational checks and balances. During the financial year 2021, several activities were undertaken with the view to ensure that the credit union's business was being conducted efficiently. The following were among the main activities pursued by the committee: internal operations. The committee, via the compliance officer, performed frequent surprise cash counts of the tellers and vault to ensure that there is transparency, accountability, and accuracy of the SPCCU's funds. No irregularities were discovered during these cash counts, as the total audited cash was equivalent to the cash recorded in the General Ledger report on the computerized systems at all times. The committee commends the strength of the day-to-day operations of the credit union, as we stress the importance of internal controls and the operational systems and procedures in place for SPCCU and risk management. Anti-money laundering, AML compliance management. The SPCCU continues its ongoing process of account updating by adhering to and monitoring the procedures of opening new accounts. In relation to the opening of new accounts and the completion of source of funds declaration forms, the committee found that, for the most part, the documents obtained during the account opening was completed in line with the procedures outlined in the AML and counterterrorism code and regulations. All new accounts opened during the period January to December 2021 were reviewed by the compliance officer. The following findings were highlighted. 227 new accounts were opened. 28, that is 12.3% of the opened accounts, did not initially meet all of the requirements as per SPCCU's policy. However, it should be highlighted that out of the 28 new accounts that did not meet the requirements, 14 applicants were accounts opened by the Cuban Brigade through the Government of Montserrat representative. These accounts were facilitated for only Government of Montserrat salary deposits. 12 of these accounts have since been closed, and the remaining 2 have been updated to meet the AML CFT policies. The committee is also pleased to state that the Operations Department has actioned the remaining 14 accounts, and they are now fully up to date with the necessary documents or forms after examination and recommendations made by the compliance officer. As the credit union continues to drive our members to update their accounts to meet the KYC policies, a total of 168 member accounts have been updated in the year 2021. As of December 31st, 2021, credit union had a total of 4,087 active members. It is noted that the staff members at the credit union, most notably the operations department, continue to enforce full compliance with the KYC policies. The committee again commends the strength of the day-to-day operations of the credit union. The committee recommends that the credit union continue to adhere to the approved procedures for the opening of member accounts and to regularly monitor the activities of each account. The committee also recommends continuous training in areas of know your customer procedures, customer account monitoring, and the detection of suspicious activities. Going forward, the committee will continue to ensure that the credit union adheres to the relevant credit union regulations, guidelines, and its own internal policy. Internal policies and procedures. The committee, via the compliance officer, performed a number of reviews within the loan and operations department. This is to ensure that the day-to-day procedures are done in line with the regulations and laws of Montserrat, the SPCCU's bylaws, and the SPCU's policy manuals. Loans issued. The committee found that for the most part, the documentation obtained during the loan approval stage were completed in accordance with the policy manual. However, during the period reviewed, the committee observed that in few cases, members' information was outdated or invoices needed to confirm the purpose of the loan were not presented in the members' loan files. However, the committee is pleased to state that all documents have since been updated or provided to meet such requirements. Teller slip examinations. The committee noted that after an examination of the teller slips by the compliance officer, most of the teller slips were in line with the information retrieved from the main system. Where necessary, corrections or updates were made to reconcile with the system. The committee continues to encourage staff members to exercise diligence and care in their daily operational activities. Source of funds. In accordance with Section 16, Relationship Information of the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Code, the credit union is required to verify the source of funds before accepting funds for a deposit, payment, transfer, or for the purchase of any currency or instrument over $10,000, and to disclose such information to regulatory and law enforcement authorities if required. The committee noted that after an examination of 73 source of fund declaration forms from January 1st, 2021 to December 30th, 2021, only 6 applications did not have the required evidence of source of funds. Out of the 6 applicants, 3 resulted in a suspicious transaction, STR, being filed. It is also noted that there continues to be an increase in the required documents received from applicants from completing the source of fund declarations form for the period observed. It is recommended that the credit union continues to adhere to the procedures and to be alert on the deposits being made daily by members to prevent the institution from being used as a means to partake in money laundering or terrorist financing. Abandoned and dormant accounts. The credit union has introduced a monthly $10 fee for the maintenance of dormant or abandoned property commencing September 2021. The below table, as outlined in your booklets, lists the monthly number of accounts and value of fees charged. Article 31(1) defines an abandoned property inter alia. An account is classified as abandoned property if it is inoperative or inactive for at least 15 years from the last date of activity in respect of the account. Article 39(9) of the credit union's revised bylaws provides that after the expiration of 90 days following the publicized notice of abandoned properties, the credit union shall transfer the said funds to statutory reserves. On June 1st, 2021, the credit union published the list of abandoned accounts through local media houses. Subsequently, the committee noted that as of December 2021, a total of 1,267 abandoned property accounts valued at $472,785.24 has been transferred to the statutory reserve. Subsequent events. Independent audit assessment of AML CFT program for the SPCU conducted by KAW Management Services Caribbean Limited. The credit union, in accordance with proper AML CFT practices, underwent an independent audit of its AML CFT function during the period June 13th to 14th, 2023. The following were the following findings of the audit as detailed in the draft report. Recommendations. The credit union should enhance AML CFT training for all of its employees and senior managers, and also for all of the members of the corporate governance bodies. Reinforce customer due diligence document during the onboarding stage. Implement a declaration of FATCA status form for members who are classified as US citizens. Update this credit union's Know Your Employee manual to outline the actual due diligence procedures when onboarding new employees and screening existing employees. Purchase of an in-house AML CFT software to effectively monitor members' accounts and transactions. The credit union has responded by indicating in agreements and discrepancies with major sections within the credit union's draft SPCCU Independent Audit Report 2022. AML, CFT, and CPF examination conducted by the Financial Services Commission. In accordance with Section 161 of the Proceeds of Crime, Chapter 4.4 POCA of the Laws of Montserrat, the Financial Services Commission conducted a full-scope anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism and proliferation financing examination of SPCCU during the period of November 2 to 10, 2023. The following examination areas were covered during the on-site examination: SPCCU's governance, ongoing monitoring, customer due diligence, record retention, reporting, and wire transfers. The draft report of examination highlighting the findings of the examination has not yet been received from the FSC. In conclusion, the Supervisory and Compliance Committee plays a very important role in the efficient and effective oversight of the functioning of the credit union. It is, in effect, the overseer of the credit union, and thus its scope of work is extremely wide. We wish to thank the management team and supervisors of all departments for their assistance and willingness to respond to our queries. They have enabled us to fulfill our mandate. Without you, none of this would have been possible. At this time, the committee would like to commend and to congratulate the SPCU's Board of Directors, the Credit Committee, management and staff, and the Financial Services Commission, all of whom continue to work together, remaining steadfast in achieving our objective to make the credit union the community's lifelong preferred financial institution. It is assured that the prevailing relationship and level of support will continue in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. West. At this time, we will open the floor up for any questions and comments for the report that she would have shared with us just now. So any questions or comments?
Thank you very much for a comprehensive report. The question, small question, when abandoned properties are placed in your statutory reserve, can they be reclaimed by if somebody shows up? That's one. And the second one relates to opening of accounts. In the spirit of inclusivity, I know not you alone. In Montserrat, for instance, a problem I have in Montserrat, where somebody who wants to open an account must have 2 forms of ID, which we find sometimes is very difficult to acquire, especially if they are senior citizens. What do you do when somebody comes and they cannot provide 2 forms of ID?
Okay, so I'm going to answer your last question first, okay? So it is the standard across the industry that we have to ask for this ID, and that's according to the law and according to regulations. This is not something we would have decided amongst ourselves. It is the standard, and so they would have to provide it.
So in that case, you're not very inclusive in terms of the broader population and membership, because I have done research within the region, and Montserrat is one of the few countries that are asking for 2 forms of ID. I even went as far as asking the National Bank of Gibraltar, and they do not ask for two forms. And it's not in law that you must get 2 forms. And I just want to make sure that we include everybody who wants to be a member of the credit union.
Okay, so even though it is the standard, in some instances, we have in the past accepted 1 form of ID. But as a standard on island, it is the normal procedure to ask for 2 forms of ID. Okay, and so to address, your first question, abandoned property. Yes, it can be reclaimed. Okay? Did you get your answer? It can be reclaimed. Okay. Are there any more questions? Comments? Okay, if not, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the report as read by Ms. West. and someone to second it as well. So can I have a motion and a seconder, please?
Please, I would like to notice that in it, there are certain recommendations,
Yes.
and I hope that we will carry over these also for membership review.
Okay. Your comment is noted, and we will minute it and follow up on it as well. Is there another question or comment? No? Okay, if not, we will ask for the motion and a seconder of the motion, please. Okay, Ms. Lauren Piper moves. Seconder? Okay, Ms. Michelle Castle seconds. And now can we have a vote from the membership? All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. I think the ayes have it.
We will now call on the auditor, Mr. Ralston Allen, partner of Allen Thomas and Associates, Chartered Accountants, to present our 2021 financial statements. Madam Clerk, is he available online? Oh, okay. So he's not online, but we have a recorded statement from the auditor, which we will hear now. Oh. Okay.
No, he's online. He's on.
So I stand corrected. Mr. Allen is online, but we will hear from him now.
Good evening, everyone. I now present the independent auditor's report to the directors of the St. Patrick's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Report on the audit of the financial statements. Those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. We are independent of the credit union in accordance with international ethics standards, in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants, IESBA, International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independence Standards, IESBA Code, and we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESBA Code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Responsibilities of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with IFRS, and for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of the financial statements that are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the credit union's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing as applicable matters related to going concern, and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the credit union or cease operations or has no realistic alternative but to do so. The management is responsible for overseeing the credit union's financial reporting process. Auditors' responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it's not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with international standards on auditing will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatement can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if, individually or in the aggregate, they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of these financial statements. As part of an audit in accordance with international standards on auditing, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also identify and assess the risk of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. This risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or the override of internal control. We obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the credit union's internal control. We evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. We conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis of accounting, and based on the evidence, on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cast significant doubt on the credit union's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in the financial statements, or if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the credit union to cease to continue as a going concern. Finally, we evaluate the overall presentation, structure, and content of the financial statement, including the disclosures, and whether the financial statements present the represent the underlying transactions and events in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We communicate with management regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control that we may identify during the audit. Signed by Allen Thomas and Associates Incorporated, Chartered Accountants, on the 25th of September 2023 in Antigua and Barbuda. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen will stand ready in case we have any questions from the floor on the report just presented. Do we have any questions or comments from the membership? It seems not. At this time, I'll request a motion to move and second the adoption of the 2021 financial statements as presented by the auditor. So you have a question, but not for Mr. Allen. That's fair. You could ask. Would you need the mic? It is normally posted on our website before the AGM and then presented to the membership formally at the AGM. Oh, sorry, the question that was posed was if it is standard for the account to be presented at the AGM only, or first presented at the AGM? Is that the question as posed? And whether they should be circulated to the members before so that they could peruse them and come with questions. The response to that question was that they were posted on the credit union's website before, and the notice in the notice for the AGM. In the notice for the AGM, that was indicated as well. And the notice is normally sent out 10 or 18 days, 10 days before the AGM, yes. So we'll now go back to the motion for adopting the financial statements. May I see a hand? I'm seeing a hand in the chair. Could you just let me know your name, please? The light is blinding me. Nurse Braid. Correct, Nurse Braid move, and seconded by Ms. Siobhan Tuitt. So I'll now put the motion to the floor. Ready with a show of hands for the adoption. Aye. Against? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Allen. We will now move on. I would now call upon the Secretary of the Board of Directors to present some resolutions, put some resolutions before the membership for approval.
Resolution for the distribution of surplus for financial year 2021. Should be financial year 2021. Whereas it is provided by Section 129(1) of the Cooperative Societies Act 2011, Number 4 of 2011, that the members of a cooperative society may, subject to section 125, 126, and 129, distributed by way of dividend or bonus among its members in proportion to their business with the cooperative society at such rate as may be prescribed. And whereas section 129(2)(b) of the Cooperative Societies Act 2011, number 4 of 2011 provides that a cooperative society shall not pay a dividend or make any payment on account of a surplus until its institutional capital has reached a proportion of not less than 10% of the total assets of the cooperative society. And whereas the institutional capital of the society has not reached the proportion of not less than 10% of the total assets of the society, be it resolved that no dividend or any payment on account out of a surplus be distributed to members of the society.
You? So at this point, I'd like to request a motion, moved and seconded, to adopt the resolution in question. Okay. Stedroy Mead moves, Nicole Jubri seconded. By a show of hands, we have the general membership. Aye. Okay. We'll now ask for, so the ayes have it. Mr. Secretary, we'll now move on to resolution number 2. Registration. Clerk, just checking to make sure that Mr. Allen is not online still. He's still? Are we supposed to? He would have to be logged off at this stage. Mr. Skerritt, you could proceed.
Thank you. Resolution number 2. Resolution for the appointment of auditors for financial year 23, 24? 22, 23. Okay, just 2023, okay. Whereas it is provided by section 135B of the Cooperative Societies Act 2011, number 4 of 2011, that the members of the Cooperative Society may at each annual general meeting appoint an auditor to hold office until the close of the next annual general meeting, be it resolved that Allen, Thomas and Associate, Chartered Accountants, whose offices are located at High Street, St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda, be appointed as auditors for St. Patrick's Cooperative Credit Union for the financial year 2023. The resolution.
Okay, so I'll now request the motion to be moved and seconded in like manner for this to adopt the resolution just read for the appointment of the auditors for the financial year 2023. Mr. Islin Samuel, so moved. seconded by Mr. Samuel, Mr. Solomon Samuel. So now by a show of hands, I'll ask the membership, general membership to approve. I think the ayes have it. Any nays, chance? I think the ayes have it. I get one. So I'll now call on the chairperson of the nominations committee, happens to be our secretary, Mr. Skerritt, to deliver the report of the nominations committee.
Report of the Nominations Committee, St. Patrick's Cooperative Credit Union Limited, the annual general meeting, December 18, 2023. Background. In accordance with Section 26(3) of the SPCU bylaws, which state as follows: I hereby present the report of the Nominations Committee. The Nominations Committee was established pursuant to Section 26(1) of the SPCCU bylaws, which states the board shall not less than 30 days before the annual general meeting appoint a nominating committee comprising of 3 persons as set out below. A director, B, the general manager of the society, and C, a member of the society selected by the board. The nominating committee shall ensure that all nominees to fill vacancies on the board or a committee are qualified pursuant to Part 3 of the Act, the regulations, and these bylaws, and B, have consented to the nomination. The nominating committee shall present all nominations for vacancies to the annual general meeting, and elections shall be held at the annual general meeting to fill the vacancy. In respect of the above, the following members constituted the SPCCU Nominations Committee for its 50th AGM. 1, George Skerritt, board member and chairperson. 2, Mr. Stedroy Mead, member. 3, Mr. Peter Quealy, secretary, member. The SPCCU publicized the notice of corporate vacancies dated November 3rd, 2023, and invited members to submit expressions of interest, notice to serve on the SPCCU Board of Directors, Credit Committee, and Supervisory and Compliance Committee on or before November 30th, 2023. Corporate governance vacancies. The corporate governance vacancies that currently exist at the SPCCU are as follows. Board of Directors. 4 vacancies exist on the SPCCU Board of Directors. President Simone Laborde will complete 6 successive years of service on December 7th, 2023, and is retiring from the board as per statute. 3 other members of the board, namely Ms. Lovetta Silcott, Director, Vice President, Mrs. Geraldine Kaby, Director, Treasurer, and Mr. Bertram Lee, Director, have completed their first 3 years term of office on December 17th and are up for re-election if they so desire. Credit Committee. 2 vacancies exist on the SPCCU Credit Committee. Member Chairperson Michelle Castle will complete 6 successive years of service on December 7th, 2023, and is retiring from the committee as per statute above. Member Ms. Siobhan Truitt has completed her first 3-year term of office on December 17th, 2023, and is up for re-election if the member so desires. Supervisory and Compliance Committee. 3 vacancies exist on the SPCCU Supervisory and Compliance Member Chairperson Denise West and Member Brent Shuffler have completed 6 successive years on December 7th, 2023, and are retiring from the committee as per statute above. Mrs. Jacqueline Martin Truitt completed her first 3-year term of office on December 17th and is up for re-election if the member so desires. Nominations received. Ms. Lovetta Silcott, her occupation attorney at law for the Board of Directors. Mr. Bertram Lee, electrical engineer for the Board of Directors. Ms. Michelle Castle, Assistant Secretary, Government of Montserrat for the Board of Directors. Mr. Brent Shuffler, Auditor, Office of the Auditor General, Government of Montserrat, to the Board of Directors or the Credit Committee. Ms. Siobhan Truitt, Chief Statistician, Statistics Department, Government of Montserrat, for the Credit Committee. Mrs. Jacqueline Martin Truitt, Compliance Inspector, Social Security Fund, for the Supervisory and Compliance Committee. Ms. Denise West, Auditor, Internal Audit Department, Government of Montserrat, for the Credit Committee. Mr. St. Luke LeBlanc, Police Constable, the Royal Montserrat Police Service, for the Board of Directors or the Supervisory and Compliance Committee. Dr. Gregory Julius, Director of Education, Ministry of Education, Government of Montserrat, for the Board of Directors. Ms. Glenda Samuel, Specialist Teacher, French, the Montserrat Secondary School, for the Board of Directors. Mrs. Geraldine Kaby, Principal, the Montserrat Community College, Educator and Accountant, for the Board of Directors. The recommendations. Having completed its due diligence and deliberations, the recommendations of the Nomination Committee are as follows. Board of Directors. Having already served 1 3-year term on the Board of Directors on the SPCCU with distinction, the committee recommends to the AGM gathered that 1. Lovetta Silcott, attorney at law, 2. Geraldine Kaby, educator and accountant, and 3. Bertram Lee, electrical engineer, for re-election to serve a 2nd term of office as members of the SPCCU Board of Directors. This is in keeping with precedents established from the inception of the SPCCU to give preference to current corporate governance members who desire to continue serving. The committee notes that the diverse set of educational and skills these three individuals bring to the table will continue to be of immense value to the SPCCU. The committee also recommends the AGM gathering, Dr. Gregory Julius to fill the final vacancy on the Board of Directors. In recommending Dr. Julius to join the SPCU Board of Directors, the committee notes SPCCU most recent strategic goal of seeking to foster the development of financial literacy and financial education from the primary school level. The committee is of the opinion that Dr. Julius' educational skills and educational management background will serve to advance this strategic goal. Credit Committee.
At this stage, we'd like to crave the indulgence of the members to requesting that the individual motion be moved to accept the nomination of the members to the Board of Directors, the adoption of the nomination. You say all of them? Okay, we'll go through all of them and then we'll take the individual sections. That might probably make for better understanding when you go through the list of persons and what they had requested. Okay, continue. Sorry?
Just one element of the presentation in relation to the practice to give preference to members who wish to serve. I believe that that is not, what I think we expected. I think it's because of continuity. I believe that would have been a better way of putting it. Because, the members are always, open to nominate anyone they feel like.
So are you saying that you'd like the minutes to reflect that the reason that the nomination committee is recommending the continuation is for institutional knowledge?
You will agree with me.
And continuity.
You will agree with me, right?
Yes.
You will agree with me, won't you?
I'm just ensuring that I understand you correctly. Then I can agree with you and have the minutes so reflect. Thank you. Let's continue.
Credit Committee. Having already served one 3-year term on the Credit Committee, and having served with distinction, the committee recommends to the AGM gathering that Ms. Siobhan Chewit, statistician and economist, be re-elected to serve a second 3-year term of office, a member of the SPCCU Credit Committee. The committee notes that the statistical, economic and financial skills that Ms. Chewit brings to the table will continue to be invaluable to the work of the Credit Committee. Additionally, the committee recommends to the AGM gathering that Ms. Denicia West fill the final vacant position on the Credit Committee. The committee notes that Ms. West has recently completed 6 years service on the Supervisory and Compliance Committee, where she has served as chairperson for several years. The committee is of the view that given Ms. West's audit and management skills and keen eye for detail will abode well for the Credit Committee in this challenging economic and financial environment. Supervisory and Compliance Committee. Having already served one 3-year term on the Credit Committee, that should read Supervisory and Compliance Committee. And having served with distinction, the committee recommends to the AGM gathering that Mrs. Jacqueline Martin Truitt, Compliance Inspector at the Montserrat Social Security Fund, be re-elected to serve a second 3-year term of office, a member of the St. Patrick's Supervisory and Compliance Committee. Finally, to fill the final 2 vacant spots on the Supervisory and Compliance Committee, the committee recommends to the AGM gathering Ms. Michelle Castle and Mrs. Glenda Samuels. The committee notes that Ms. Castle has recently completed 6 years service on the Credit Committee, whereas she has served as chairperson for several years. Additionally, Ms. Castle has served on several boards in government, in particular the Social Security Board, where from all reports she served with distinction. In respect of Mrs. Glenda Samuels, that Mrs. Samuels, who is currently a teacher at the Montserrat Secondary School, has served on the Board of Directors, Credit Committee, and Supervisory and Compliance Committee of St. Mary's Credit Union in her native Dominica. The committee is of the view that Mrs. Samuel will bring diversity to the table and that the Supervisory and Compliance Committee will benefit from her vast experience. The report of the Nomination Committee.
So at this time, I'd like the members, I'll move individual, well, not move, I'll request for individual motions to be moved for the nominations of the various sections, starting with the Board of Directors, that the recommendations be adopted. Do we have any questions? Is the appetite therefore? Thank you. Ms. Truitt will move that the nominations for the Board of Directors be adopted as read. Seconded by Ms. Truitt. Venice? You're seconding the motion. Yes, thank you. Moved by Siobhan Truitt, seconded by Venice, and adopted by a show of hands from the membership. The ayes have it. Thank you. We now move on to the Credit Committee for the adoption of the nomination of those members as read by the Secretary. Moved by Ms. Lauren Piper, seconded by, I know I saw a hand. Is that Ms. Burns? Sorry, Ms. Brandt, Lorian Brandt, there in the front, on the right. A show of hands, can we hear those ayes again? Very lustily, the ayes have it. Move on to the final section, the nomination of the members to the Supervisory and Compliance Committee. The movement, the adoption as read. Mr. Solomon Samuel, so move. And you in the far top, you can't see who you are? Pardon? McLeod White, Royal McLeod White. So move. The general membership, by a show of hands. This might be a final opportunity. The ayes have it. Let's hear a resounding ayes. Aye, the ayes have it. Yes, please. For the election. Oh, well, you don't have that. We have that. That was section 26. Mr. Quealy, section 26, 1 and 3. Just double checking. The question was whether it was correctly section 25 or section 26 of the bylaws. Section 26. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Section 26 is correct. We will now move on swiftly to item 14. I'll invite the General Manager at this section to deliver special awards and prizes. We'd like to invite a member of staff to assist us with this as well. Not sure. Madam Clerk?
Okay, just checking. Okay, we have some awards to give out to some folks who have served with distinction, the credit union. And the first prize award is given to Mistress Simone Watts Laborde, who, as you're told, is exiting the board as per statute, having served 6 years. And so, this is Laborde, please come up and accept your award. Six years is a long time, Ms. Laborde, and you have duly served. Thank you. The second award is to Miss Michelle Castle for service on the credit union's credit committee for 6 years, including a number of years as chairperson. Ms. Castle, well done. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next award is to Miss Benicia West for service on the Credit Union Supervisory and Compliance Committee, a number of those years as chairperson. Ms. West, well done, keen eye for detail. Thank you very much. Keen eye for detail. The next award is to Mr. Brent Shuffler, who has issued his apologies for non-attendance. I think he's overseas. But this award is to Mr. Shuffler is for 6 years service also on the Credit Union Supervisory and Compliance Committee. So I will leave it for him. The next award is to Mr. Steadroy Mead for service on the SPCCU Nominations Committee. Mr. Steadroy Mead. And Mr. Mead is a former board member of the credit union and somebody who would have been instrumental in the new bylaws that we have right now. So thank you, Mr. Mead. Every time. Well deserved. And the final award, I don't think she's here because I left her at the office, but Miss Yvonne Howe, staff member of the credit union, who is now with us for 35 years. 35 years of service to Miss Yvonne Howe. And I suspect that Mrs. Howe, as she has so... Oh, yes. Knowing Miss Howe, she's up there trying to work on those government salaries so that we can be paid tomorrow morning. But Miss Howe, well done. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you. And that concludes the awards that we have to give. I think the President will now go into the... No, I think the draw. Yeah, there's a draw for the prizes.
Call show.
And
Miss Castle.
Miss Castle will come up.
Will assist us.
Yes. And we would like any member to come and pick the first prize. We have 3 door prizes. The first prize is for $1,000. The second prize is for $500. And the third prize is for $250. And these are door prizes for anybody who comes to the AGM. I think that we're going to discount corporate governance members and staff members from the so that the members directly who come will benefit. So any member, please come up and draw so that we can seem to be transparent and. Okay, fair enough. You can pull. You can pull. Remember, first prize is $1,000.
Are we starting from third or are we starting from first?
We're starting from the first prize. So everybody gets a chance of winning the $1,000.
Raymond KB.
First prize is Mr. Raymond
Mr. Raymond KB. So it shows that there are benefits to attending. We're giving something back. Second prize, $500. Let's see who it is.
Joseph Easton Taylor Farrell.
Joseph Easton Taylor Farrell.
Honorable
Premier of Montserrat, second prize. I don't think we could do that. He was here.
Yes.
So, second prize goes to Mr. Easton Taylor Farrell, Joseph Easton Taylor Farrell. Third prize, Sherwood. Is Sherwood around to collect? No, okay. So we go on. Third prize for $250.
Dr. Sharon Burns.
Dr. Sharon Burns. Dr. Sharon Burns. Can you come up and receive your... Oh, no, but I think that's... No, because we wouldn't know who would have won.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you won't have to write?
Yes. So she will come up and you can collect your prize tomorrow at the credit union.
I gave it. Oh.
Thank you, Dr. Burns.
And Mr. KB, please come.
So now we know who the prize winners are. They would get their Christmas gift from the credit union tomorrow morning. And thank you for your participation. I think, Madam Chair, we're going to any other business?
So we're trying to wrap up quickly. We will entertain a comment or two from the membership in relation to any other business. It's 8:10 at the moment. Is there anything else burning that we want to have noted at this time? Other than the fact that it's time to go home, which I will come to soon after. Okay, there being nothing, I'll just invite the general manager now to deliver the vote of thanks. Oh, Norman, sorry. The mic, Mr. Jemot has the mic.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's just a suggestion with regard to the information sharing and updating on whatever new initiatives or what is happening. Could we utilize a database of maybe emails from the members, and so that that information is pushed out on a regular basis, simply informing them of whatever changes or whatever it is that you may want to inform the members of? Just a suggestion. I don't think that'll be too difficult to be able to do. But the other members can give their comments as to what they think of the suggestion also.
We accept the suggestion, but we may have to utilize various means, as not everyone has email addresses.
Yeah.
Sorry? As a start, we could...
Start with emails. Or WhatsApp, anything.
Mr. Jemot, you have one final comment? No? Okay.
Hello?
No, I thought the mic went back to you. I'm not forcing you at all, you know. So you could sit. Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair, it's just that one burning desire
The building.
that the new committee is elected, that they try to obtain copies of the so-called bylaws, if there is new one, right? Because I've been trying for about nearly 3/4 of a year to get one, and I can't. All right? That they get it, and please read it, and that they must remember that the membership, when the new committee gets in place, that the membership is the owner of the credit union, that they must be consulted, that they must be educated, so that everyone will help each other. We are poor people. We don't need no bank in order to go forward. So as a committee, I'm encouraging you all to try to see how we could make sure that every person here realizes, and the obligation that they have as a member is that if they borrow money, that they will do everything they can to repay it, but that at the same time the committee must exercise some of the sympathy and the consideration which was exercised by the credit committee in dealing with their loan portfolios. Right, so with that, I will want to say that I think it was an enjoyable evening, and that we covered a lot of grounds for the credit union in one evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jemot. Jim?
Thank you very much, Madam President. And let me just start by expressing first thanks to God, the Almighty, for bringing us to this another successful and profitable AGM of the credit union. I've been here since 2012, and this is my 11, 12 years. 12 years of unbroken profits for this credit union. I think it's a track record in the OECS region. Give a clap. 12 years of unbroken profits. Let me say thank you also to the Board of Directors, the Credit Committee, the Supervisory and Compliance Committee for the invaluable service that they have rendered to the credit union over the years. I know that your time is valuable, but you would have put out your time and effort and skills to ensure that the credit union is managed correctly, and that we adhere to all the standards that are set, and that we continue to perform and serve our members in an adequate way. So I just want to, at this point in time, express thank you to the corporate governance members, to the staff of the credit union, the hard-working staff. And I'm going to take out some time. There are 4 ladies on my staff. You have every strong man, you have to have a strong woman behind. But there are four strong ladies at the credit union that no matter what, they will always come through for you. Karen Moore, Mrs. Rhiannon Williams, Miss Samantha Jubry, Miss Yvonne Howe. They will stand firm at the credit union, and they will produce, and as we speak, I'm sure that they're still up there now doing work. And I want to recognize those staff in particular, but all the staff of the credit union who would have contributed to this success and to our well-being and to our development and growth. I want to just say thank you from the bottom of my heart. To the members, the members of the credit union, without you, without your funds, we could not have done anything. Without your business, we could not have survived. Without your discussions and your many recommendations and so forth, we would not be where we are today. And I just want to say thank you to the members here. Thank you for your comments and questions at this AGM. And I hope that we would have done justice in addressing most of the questions that you would have posed. But let me just say thank you again to the members for their loyalty and dedication towards the success of the credit unions. To the government of Montserrat, to continue to support us with the the government home scheme, and now what do they call it, the small business fund. Thank you very much. CCU, the Caribbean Conference of Credit Unions, that have done human service for us in the past and still do. They were the ones who would have assisted us with the lobbying to the ECCB so that we can at least upgrade our service to the credit unions and to our members. Thank you to the ECCB, and finally to the Financial Services Regulatory Commission, the Financial Services Commission, for their tolerance and for their forbearance. Thank you for your very, very, very patience and, for what you have done. And, I just want to just say here that, it's been a very, very enjoyable experience. We have gone through COVID, we have come back, we have out, we are now going forward into the future. The theme for this AGM has been better days are coming.
You can make as many videos as you want,
better days
and you never have to pick up a key.
Hey, Daryl here from Radio.co. I think you'd all agree that making money isn't easy.
And change.
If it was...
Thank you very much.
What you doing with your time? I'm up in on Western time. What you doing with your time? I'm not taking on right now, but better days are coming.